I want you to think back. Think back when you had probably the biggest belly laugh that you've ever had. Think about it. When you just couldn't stop yourself from laughing and experiencing pure joy. When was the last time you had that experience? For many of us, that experience happened when we were children. And it often happened when we were outside like this in nature, playing with our friends, riding our bikes, playing freeze tag, red light, green light. Remember all those games, those fun games as children that we played? And in that moment, we had pure happiness and pure joy. But then something changed. We got older. Responsibilities happened. We had families of our own. Research shows that 35% of children today are playing less than their parents did when they were younger. 35% are playing less, are spending less time outside than their parents did when they were children. That's a huge problem. We don't have enough children that are spending time outdoors. So on today's channel, I just want to share a couple points on the benefits and the risk that are associated with children who do not spend time outdoors playing, particularly as it relates to our homeschoolers. Let's go with risk first. What are some of the top risks that are associated with children who are not coming outside and getting outdoors? Well, the first is mental health. When you think of anxiety, depression, those types of things, oftentimes that's generated because kids aren't getting outdoors enough. They're not spending time moving their body, developing those cognitive skills, motor skills, those types of things. They're staying indoors. They don't have any access to vitamin D, right? So their immune system isn't being built up how it should be being built up by being outdoors. That's number one. Number two, exercise. We did a whole channel talking about just physical fitness and working out in the cardiovascular system. Exercise. Kids aren't spending enough time outdoors in nature playing, running, jumping, dancing, moving their bodies, sweating, right? That's not happening at the rates that was happening when we were children. Big problem that we're seeing with children today. Number three, social interaction. These are risks for our kids. They don't know how to interact with each other. They're spending a lot of time on the tablets, on the laptops, on the computers, on the cell phones, and they're not physically engaging or having conversation or eye contact or reading body language. All of the soft skill stuff that you and I as adults have experienced, just purely based on the interaction of being outside and playing in nature. Number four, lack of creativity. Now think about it. I just gave off a ton of different games that we played as children. Oftentimes, we just went outside. If you're like me, I would go outside and then knock on the doors of friends so that they can come outside. But we as parents today, how often do we allow our kids to go outside, go across the street, go up the street, go around the corner even, to go knock on the door and asking a friend come out to play? It's not happening nearly as much as it happens when we were children. Now I get it. It's risky out here. So you got to be careful. So we have to manage and monitor our kids accordingly. But things like that are incredibly rich and important. And a lot of times the kids are missing out on that type of interaction, on that type of engagement, because they're staying indoors. They're not tapping into just pure creativeness of not having a toy when you're outside, skipping rocks. Remember those? Playing hide and go seek. Remember that game? All of these games were created without having any type of tangible product with us. We just use our creativity to do it. So these are huge risks that a lot of our kids are facing today because they're just simply not getting outdoors nearly as much. Now let's switch. Those are some of the risks. Let's think of some of the positives, because some of the risks actually connect to the positive as well. Let's go back to mental health. We talked about depression, talked about anxiety, fresh air, vitamin D, the stillness and the quietness of the day improves the thinking of a child, allows the child's mind to wonder and innovate and create and imaginate even. So imagination is critical and a strong benefit when it comes to mental health. Another positive with being outdoors in nature, having appreciation for nature. You hear now the birds are chirping. You see the leaves falling off. You may even pick up some of the wind that's passing through. How the grass is growing, how the trees are being developed, what animals are living in the wilderness. All of those things will give children who are so impressionable, who are so just full of joy and purity and appreciation for Mother Nature. So much so that as they grow older, they'll then in turn share that with their children. And we can make this environment in this country, and this planet rather, a better place and a more comfortable place, an enjoyable place to live, because children now have an appreciation for nature and they grow up to be adults, and then hopefully that continues with them as they continue to move on throughout the world. Exercise is a benefit. You all know me, I'm a coach. I love physical movement. Movement is medicine. If a child is staying at home, left to their devices, they're not physically moving their body nearly as much as they need to be moving it throughout the day. Being outdoors and active free play is enjoyable, is fun, is moving. So they're developing behavior traits that will carry them and sustain them through life, through lessons. My boys are the exact same way. We try to have some type of physical activity at least 20 to 30 minutes every day. That includes weekends. And a lot of that is just free, unstructured, moving your body, play. Now my sons also, they like football and all that kind of stuff, so we add a little bit of structure and those types of things when it comes to just working out and routine and training. But outside of that, they're getting the physical activity through just being outdoors. Another benefit, talked a little about this through the exercising, which is motor skills and cognitive skills and the creativity piece of it. But there's just a human connection piece that's incredibly rich. There's so many studies that talks about people living longer and living healthier lives. Well, one of the key factors within that is community and who you have in your community and the tribe that you've developed through your community. People live longer simply because they have people around them that they can engage with, that they can have discussions with, that they can debate with. Do all of those things through community. And having a child outdoors allows for them to connect with peers and engage and look at them and smile at them and talk to them. All of the important social skills that goes into a child that develops into an adult. They do this in nature and they do this in community so that they're comfortable. So as they get older, they're more comfortable with speaking out. They're more comfortable with being around people. And they're more comfortable with just being in nature as a whole. I'll give you one more. And this one is really important to me as I think about the benefits of being outdoors, particularly as it relates to homeschoolers, but then also as it relates to learning. I lived in New York City for a long period of time in my life. And you would go outside in New York City. If anybody's ever lived in New York City or visited New York City, the city has a pace about it. has a rhythm about the city. It has a physical connection to the city. But you only experience that by what? By going outside and going out in nature, going out in society. One of the benefits of Grassroots Middle is that we're always outside, no matter how hot, how cold, any of that. We're playing in dirt, we're building businesses, we're doing all of these things that are grabbing all of the benefits of outdoor living and creating a structure where the kids can do this in a safe way, so that when they grow older, they'll have an ability to not only live this, but then also create opportunities for the next generation come along. And that's one of the greatest benefits, I feel like. Experience. Being in nature, you experience life. You don't just read about it. You don't just watch it. You're in the experience of life. You're in conversations. You're in dialogue with different races and ethnicities and perspectives and visions and ideas and all these types of things. But you got to be outside to do that. Not taking away anything from any other channel. You know, we can learn a lot from the digital age. That's important. But I would just challenge all of you. Spend a minimum of at least 2 hours with your child outdoors. A minimum of 2 hours outside with your child. Now, I didn't say a minimum of 2 hours per day. I didn't say per week, per month. I'll let you decide on what that is. But this is a challenge to all of you. Make sure that you spend time with your children outdoors for 2 hours and see what comes of it and see how they react to it. Okay? Thank you so much. Appreciate you all for joining. Have a great rest of the day. Come on.